Hello.
Howdy.
I feel like my eyebrows were all like messed up.
You're going to do that after we start the live?
Yeah, you know.
Full transparency. I love it.
I'm trusting myself and just going with the flow.
Oh, speaking of which,
Hello.
today's
Oh,
episode is the time to trust yourself.
yeah, absolutely. Trusting ourselves is very, very, very important. And we're going to talk about why that's so important.
Yes, indeed.
First off, we want you to trust us, so you need to know who we are. So I'm Michelle with Moksha Grace Coaching, and I am all about helping others learn how to manage their emotions, their feelings, so that their feelings and their emotions don't run their life amok and cause havoc in your life. And instead, you can rein it in and create the life that you actually really want.
Fantastic. And I'm Krista with Wicked Wisdom Consulting. I am an ops wizard and CRM strategist, and I help people get shit done in a nutshell.
You do.
Yeah.
You're amazing at getting shit done.
Thanks. You're amazing at coaching people. Now for today's topic.
So, I was thinking about this topic and actually the other day I did my lovely meditation that inspired me with for the name of Moksha, Moksha Grace, and it made me think about trust, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
and just kind of diving into that whole. I was pondering it and wondering. We haven't talked about like moksha in a long time.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, we should kind of start with that and talk about what are the barriers to getting to moksha. And so
Do it.
moksha is Sanskrit for liberation. In some cultures, the deeper definition goes into your soul's liberation. So being free, free from regret, free from feeling undone, like you're not complete, uh, feeling numb, feeling empty. It's liberating yourself from all of that so that you can just be you and be connected with source, divine, higher power. Maybe for today, we'll just blanketly use divine or higher power. I like higher power. And that's really what moksha is. And so when you have that emotional freedom and you're not allowing the emotions to rule you or what other people think about me, which is self-doubt, which is I'm not worthy of putting of understanding my own worth, and having the confidence in yourself, uh, that's it stops you, it prevents you from finding that freedom. And when you find that freedom, life changes, everything opens up for you. What are your thoughts?
I love that word because it's such a conversation starter for you, and then you can just start talking about moksha and all that's included in it. I love that it came from a meditation. Um, and I think you're right on the money. I think if we can't trust ourselves, um, we really can't do anything because that means inherently in every thought we have, every action we take, every forward motion, there's an undertone of lack of trust in that. And
Mm-hmm.
so that literally that then means that in everything we do, there's an undertone of fear.
Right, right. And that's sad because that's what stops you from doing things that you love, having experiences that you might really enjoy. And sorry about that. And also, like finding your path. If you're living, what are the things that stop us, right, from trusting ourselves? And a lot of it is fear, fear of doubt,
Hmm.
our fear of success, fear of failure,
I mean, fear
doubting.
of doubt, I suppose, is its own thing.
Yeah, I was thinking too fast there. Uh, and what are some other things that stop you? Because we all have things that stop us.
I think it. Well, for me, there's when I've always had a really, I think, heightened intuition, and so growing up, I would be able to tell when somebody was there was like something going on. And I
Mhm.
think for me, I'm still working through, even as a grown adult, I'm still working through being a kid and calling things out and having people tell me, no, I'm fine, or no, you're being crazy, or whatever it is. Meanwhile, I'm completely right. They just don't want to be upfront and honest with me. And so that really challenged my intuition a lot growing up.
Mm,
So then created some doubt in myself of, wait, am I actually picking up on something, or am I crazy? Because if you're told that enough times, especially as a kid, you're
yeah.
gonna start doubting that and questioning it and saying, oh, maybe I am off the mark. So I think for me, that's my biggest hurdle, my
Mm,
block on fully trusting myself, and also just the understanding that I don't know everything. I don't pretend to know everything, and especially when it comes to things like intuition and energy and metaphysical and spiritual things, I know that I'm not the top of the heap. And so for me, it's nice to verify that with somebody who is wiser than me, has more experience than me. Um, but that has helped me also gain a lot of trust in myself and my own
yeah.
intuition, because though that person confirms you're right on the money, you
Hmm.
already know the answer. They'll usually talk in riddles, but yeah. So for me, it's a work in progress, and I think that's applicable for a lot of people, because I think that happens very often to us, especially
Hmm.
in childhood, where dealing with friends and such. People most of the time are not fully straightforward and honest. We all put up sort of a shield unless someone is super close to us, and I think that that can be a big point of distrust in ourselves, as I just said.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's sad when people think that they need outside help. Maybe not sad. Sad's not the right word. It's more empowering to be able to look within, and then if you want to kind of bounce the idea around, speak it out loud, and get those that you trust, get their insight into it.
Hmm.
Absolutely, right? Because that also helps us feel validated or like we're on the right path.
Yeah.
Some will go to people they trust. Some will go to a group of people that maybe they shouldn't necessarily trust, but they do. That maybe are more concerned with how it's gonna what that decision or that path for that person, how it may affect them.
They don't have their best interest at heart, in other words.
Right, right. And when we look within, not only are we looking within, but we're also asking for that divine guidance and validation.
Hmm.
And then that's when we receive it.
Yeah.
I was talking with I've been getting messages from a client who's sending me the numbers that she's seeing, and
Hmm.
the validation that she's getting that she is on the exact right path is amazing. And it's not typical numbers. It's like 808. I mean, but
But that
when you
means something
see that
happened.
everywhere,
Yeah.
then you got to look it up, and you got to check it out. So it's always interesting. I have my list in front of me of all the numbers I've been seeing again this week. And again, they're all ones and twos, 11, 11, 12, 12, 1, 1, 1, all of the
Yeah.
same ones, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3.
Well, and
Um,
I think this is also, there's a distinction between, in my opinion, I think there's a
mhm,
big distinction, and it kind of gives you an idea of where I feel like you're at along your journey. Is there's a big difference between asking other people what, they think you should do, and then just saying, yep, okay, I'm going to just basically blindly take that answer, or going with that answer because you're afraid that they're not going to like you anymore if you don't, or they're going to get mad, or whatever it is. There's a big difference between that and like something that I do really often is I'll ask the people around me that I trust.
Mm-hmm.
75% of the time, I don't go with what they suggest because for me, it's more of I need to say this out loud to someone. I need to hear them tell me the opposite. So that way it is super clear to me which feels better. Because if I'm saying both
Mm-hmm.
options to myself, it can be hard for me to distinguish which is the right route. But if I'm talking it out with somebody and they're going, "Oh, I think you should do this," immediately will either be like, "Okay, sweet, that's what I was thinking," or I'm gonna go, "Oh, I don't like that
Yeah.
at all."
Yeah.
Or, "Okay, I see where you're coming from. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I'll go that." But there's a big distinction between those 2 things.
Right.
Um, and the first being one that maybe need to do some insight on.
Right. And that's very different than, how some people can make decisions, right? And Renee, welcome. Thank you for
Hi,
sharing
Renee.
out, by the way. Hi. We're always glad to have you here. And if you're here, please put a chat, put something, an emoji. Let us know that you're here. We always love that, and share it out for others that might want to join the conversation today. Um, so we all know these people that before they make a move, they absolutely have to talk to almost everybody they know. And they have to rehash the story
Yeah,
over and over and over and over and over again.
yeah.
And then ultimately, it's taken so long that they end up not doing anything.
Which in a lot of cases can end up being not great because now you've either missed your opportunity, something's
Mhm.
gone awry, more so the missed opportunity piece, I think. Although the main person we know who used to do this um, had some unpleasant experiences because of this. She lost
Absolutely.
a lot of things. She had a bunch of health conditions because of things like that, where you get into such a state of paralysis because honestly it is the same exact thing as what's happening on dating sites, the same thing that's happening on social media, on job boards, on both sides of that. It's
Hmm.
the illusion of choice. I have so many options now that I can't make a decision. Now you've lost out on them all.
And I love the fact that you use the word illusion, because that's huge. And a lot of people think that the way things are presented, the way they see them, is exactly the way that it is, versus there's some truth, there's a little truth in some things, most
Mhm.
things, there's some truth, but it's not the whole truth. And you may not understand what is really going on
Mhm.
behind the scenes. You may not understand the bigger picture or the bigger plan,
Yeah.
because it's not part of your, it's out of your pay grade. And in some cases, it's the higher power who's
Mhm.
planning it all. And I always go back to, who am I to judge what the plan is for me?
Mhm.
I'm just here allowing myself to be led
Yeah.
down the path, wherever that takes me.
Mhm.
And when I finally surrender to that one thing, like surrendering to the path and just following along and just like, this, okay, just guide me, and not committed to any outcome, is when life started unfolding and getting brighter and sunnier and just wonderful.
Yeah.
And it takes such a weight off your shoulders of, oh my gosh, if I don't make the right decision, I'm going to make a mistake. Guess what? It's already written, it's already done in reality. Well, in the higher power reality, it's already done. And so just listen from within, because all of the answers are inside of you. They're
Mhm.
not outside of you, they're inside of you.
It's so funny because the only way you can go off your path is by not listening to your intuition, but ironically, that's still along your path if that's what you ultimately do. So it's so funny how this all works because it's one of those things that on some level, I don't think the human mind is meant to fully comprehend how all of this works, because there's so many feedback loops. There's
Hmm.
so many twists and turns where things connect to other things, and if it's in this case, then there's so much interwoven paths and definitions and explanations, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's so funny that we're talking about this too. This was just a moment for me of like confirmation that I'm on the right path, because I was just listening to a podcast earlier where they were literally talking about this same topic, a little bit different because it was more
Hmm.
about like aliens and conspiracy theories. But the woman was saying, like, you could tell me aliens don't exist and I'd believe you. You could tell me, like, if God came down and said aliens don't exist, I'd believe him. If he said aliens do exist, I'd believe him. There's nothing that she was saying. There's nothing you could say to me that I'd be like, absolutely. There's absolutely no way that that's possible, because how can we possibly know that?
Yeah, abso
And
freaking
that's
absolutely.
basically essentially kind of what we're talking about here too. Is, if you're on your path and you're feeling guided towards one route or the other, who's to say if that's good or bad? You really don't know.
Well, exactly. And that absolutely goes into right where I was going next, which is boom, Renee said it, mistakes are all learning lessons. And so if you're welcoming all of life in with ease, joy, and glory, that means all of life, even the things that
Mhm.
seem on the surface to be a mistake or a mess or the wrong
Unpleasant.
thing, right? It's wrong or definitely the mistake.
It's causing me some pain right now, whether
Of
emotional, physical, spiritual, whatever it might be.
I failed, right? A
Mhm.
failure feels like a big mistake, but they're not. They're learning lessons. They're
Yeah.
here to teach us something. And so when we stop judging, when we stop judging, and basically when you're judging uh, mistakes and failures, who are you really judging? You're judging the plan, and who created the plan?
Divine.
Divine. So who are we to judge?
Although, actually, if we really want to get into it,
We're going to dive
it
deep.
would technically be yourself before you incarnate on the planet, but that's a whole other topic for another day.
And that is very, very true because I absolutely go there all the time. Um, because you're going to sidetrack me. But knowing this is that old saying, good, bad, we'll see.
Hmm.
And so when you feel like, ooh, maybe that was a mistake, good, bad, we'll see. It
Hmm.
may turn out to be the best thing that's ever happened to you. And I was thinking about, okay, what examples like do I want to share today of a situation where I went, I don't
Hmm.
know if this is the right thing.
Hmm.
And so I was trying to think of like which one would be the good one. Okay, so life changing. 17, didn't I was exhausted, I was tired, long day at high school. Oh my gosh,
Oh,
the,
it's
the
horrible. I'm
bus.
exhausted for you.
Oh, and cheerleading practice. Oh my gosh. Oh. And my friend said, "Hey, let's go to this meeting for Campus Life Haunted House." And I was like, "I don't really want to go." But there was something inside of me that was like, "Get your ass off the couch and go." And I was like, I really don't want to go. Really, I'm just tired. I just want to take a shower, want to hang out. I don't want to go. And she kept nudging me and nudging me. And inside, I could feel this pull. And I was like, fine, I'll go. Guys, I met the love of my life. If I didn't go that night, Krista wouldn't be sitting here. I wouldn't be sitting here.
Yep.
Like, God only knows where I'd be. But I listened that night, even though I was fighting it. I listened and I went. And what's so funny is if you ask my husband, he'll tell you the same exact thing happened to him. His friend was like, come on, let's go. And he was like, I don't want to go. that ended up, that haunted house that we participated in, because it was a whole thing that we were signing up for, it ended up being like the first 2 months of our relationship, and it built a foundation of friendship and love and trust that if we didn't go, I truly believe at some point we would have met. But if we hadn't had those first 2 months of doing this event together and having to see each other every single day, and it wouldn't have been as solid. I don't believe that there would be the foundation that there is now, because it wasn't like we were going on dates every night. It was this event that we were doing. So that's like huge, of a time when I listened even though I didn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine what you might be missing out on, not you, but anyone out there, what you could be missing out on if you're saying no to those inner voices, to that inner pull to go do something.
Yeah.
How about you? Do you have anything?
Yeah, mine's not as sweet and cute and cuddly, but for me, I had in the last, I forgot exactly when timeline wise, but there was an opportunity for a sort of like a contract sort of situation, a longer, bigger contract. And I was like, I don't know, something about this just kind of feels weird, but let me just move forward. The worst case is it doesn't work out. Long story short, it didn't. But what did happen was I met a couple of different people who one has become a friend, and the other I actually was able to bring on to another team that I was working with. And so it was one of those situations where at the time and how it worked out was not pleasant, but there were positive things that came out of it. And it was a nice little, we'll call it bonus when that was going on. It ultimately, I wouldn't change that decision. It was still the right move to make. It was a little unpleasant, but good outcome. I can look back now and go, oh, okay, I can see why that happened that way.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, hell, we can go back to me having cancer and almost dying at 3 years old. Oops, sorry, we're gonna get flagged probably for me saying that. Um, I mean, we've talked about this a lot. We've mentioned it on the show. We talk a lot about it as a family, but none of us would change that for the world.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I almost died, but it made each of us who we are.
Yeah.
It changed our family dynamic to be what it is and why we're all so close. It made me personally who I am, gave me the abilities that I have. I think genuinely the chemo totally changed my brain, but that's just me. Um,
In a
that
good way.
in a good way. That's an incredibly unpleasant experience, but
Hmm.
would not change it for the world.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because that comes to a really important piece, is when there are other people that are maybe intimidating, whether it's a meeting, or in that situation it was doctors and nurses, and here I am, stay at home mom, like 20, what was I, 27, 28.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know what the heck I was doing in the medical situation that we were in. And I had this feeling that I had to basically keep my own chart. Like, I had to write everything down. I had to chart along with the nurses, because it wasn't that I didn't trust them. I wanted to understand, because I couldn't take it from you, because I couldn't do it for you. I could at least make sure that everything went as smoothly as possible.
Well, and let's reframe that for a second because, yeah, it's not that you didn't trust them, but it's that you trusted yourself. It's not that you lack trust for them. It was the understanding that they're people too, that they're not some
Right.
godly creatures that can do no wrong. It's the
Right.
understanding that I fully trust myself, I fully trust my intuition, and I fully trust that I know my child enough to make the right decisions and right choices. And
Yep.
in order to do that, this is what I need to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna
Absolutely.
I'm gonna try not to go on a soapbox with this, but this is something that honestly you and I need to talk about more because so much on social media, there's like two branches of people. There's the people who talk about this kind of thing, and I know my child best. I know how to make the choices for my child. And then there's this other group of people who doctors and nurses know more than you, and who do you think you are to
Right.
know better than them? Blah, 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 blah. We can talk about quite a few examples where if you didn't you didn't involve
Hmm.
yourself, I would not be here right now.
Absolutely.
Because of
Absolutely.
you and you knowing me and
Hmm.
knowing what I needed and what was best for me.
Right.
So respectfully, I'm not saying anything negative to nurses and doctors.
Absolutely
You
not.
guys do the best with what you're given, but parents and caretakers and loved ones know their loved one, their kid, their sister, their wife, their
Right.
husband, their brother, whatever it is.
Right.
And to separate those two and to put the nurses and doctors on some sort of pedestal is how we have one of the lowest, or actually one of the highest medical, what is it? It's
Errors.
medical error rates of any
Yeah.
first world country
Yeah.
because we split those two apart.
Absolutely.
Done with my
Absolutely.
rant for today.
No, but this is so important because how many people take the advice without doing any research into it,
Yeah.
whether it's about their career, whether it's about their health, whether it's about treatment,
Hmm.
and they don't do the research because they don't know any better because they're lost, because they can't think straight, they can't advocate for themselves because it's hard to do that when you've just been handed a diagnosis that really sucks. And it took us a bit to get our bearings, but once I got my bearings, it was like, excuse me, I need to know everything that is going on. I need to know what bag of chemo is being hung at what time. I will chart every single side effect and symptom and reaction because I want to know the next time it's hung
Yep.
exactly what to expect. Okay, 5 minutes in, her face is going to turn red. Okay, 10 minutes in, her stomach's going to get a little nauseous.
Hey, doc, I know you're pumping the blood out of her system and it needs to be pumped back in. She's getting really pale. Is this turned on?
Is this normal? Right.
Fun
Yes.
fact,
And
no,
and
it
that
was not.
and that was a pheresis machine, and yes, they drained Krista of all of her blood, like a vampire, and they weren't putting any back in her. So
That's
that
adorable.
happened at a hospital very south of us that we won't mention. Uh,
Anywho.
but anywho, we digress. So there was a reason even for that,
Hmm.
right? Because that person, those people in that room that were in charge of that situation, I bet you they never forgot that moment
Nope.
when your pop had to come over and figure out how to make
A
and he
firefighter
knew
slash
he was a
paramedic.
firefighter. He knew how to put the table down so that your head was down lower so that all the blood would race to your brain. Otherwise, you could have stroked out. You could have died. And so I bet you that that was a lesson they will never forget. And, you know, I, because of what I've done in the past with in healthcare, I saw so many families stand there and a doctor, a nurse managers, whatever, oh well, according to policy you have to leave because you can't be here, you might overhear blah 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 blah. Well, guess what?
You might overhear, you mean overhear my family members' medical concerns, which is exactly why we're here.
What we're trying to convey in this is you can respectfully push back.
Yeah.
You can respectfully fight for your right to be next to your loved one in any situation. You can fight for your children in school if you don't feel like they're being treated the right way or they're being
We did that
bullied.
too.
We did that too. And it ended up not working. And then I had the feeling inside of me, there was actually a little bit of a war that was going on inside of me. The cheerleader, younger version of myself going, no, but Krista's going to go to homecoming and prom and she's going to love it and she's going to want to just have a great time at football games and blah, blah. And in reality, that was not your path. And so I had to listen very deeply, not to the surface level me, but not the ego driven me that
Yep.
was like, my daughter will be this. it was that deeper of, let her live her life. She
Mhm.
has her own path. That did not come from me, my friends, and my daughter, my beautiful daughter. That did
I
not
think I
come from
also
me.
said that, but that in that moment, it wasn't for
And
me.
yes, you did very strongly say I'm not going back, but um as a parent, I had to listen to that deeper inner voice saying, you're not making this decision from the right place. And I had to really take a look internally and understand that.
Mhm.
It's not that I was right or wrong. It was I was making it from my perspective for what I felt was best for
Yeah.
me, not for you. And so I think, parents, people in general need to get curious when you are making those decisions, and you need to trust your instincts, trust your intuition.
Mhm.
And when you build up the confidence in your intuition and your instincts, you're going to see more signs, you're going to get more nudges, you're going to get more of instinct and intuition,
Absolutely.
because now your inner voice, the higher self, God, knows that you've laid it all down and put it in his hands, and he's got your back.
Well, and it ultimately is a muscle that you have to exercise. So the more that you listen, the more that you take action on those guidances, the more that you trust yourself. Just like when you're in the gym, the more that you curl
Mhm.
10-pound weights, now you got to bump up to 12. Now you're getting stronger. That
Right.
muscle gets stronger, and now you can lift things with more ease. And that's the whole point is the more that you trust yourself, the more that you follow that, it becomes second nature. You don't even have to think about it anymore. It's just what you do. It's just part of who you are.
Right. And building up a relationship where you're getting curious and questioning, not questioning in a bad way, but getting curious about the instinct and intuition, like, is that feeling a gut feeling of fear, or and where is it coming from? Is it coming from my ego? Is it coming from my higher self? Having that internal conversation. And yeah, there were many days when you were going through treatment that I had very strong conversations with the higher power of, what the hell are you thinking? Why are you doing this? This isn't fair. This isn't right. That was still building a relationship, because you can't have a relationship if there's no communication.
Yeah.
And so, even though it was more of a negative tone because I was mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore,
Divine knows
uh,
the difference. Divine knows
right.
your
At
intention.
least I was asking for help. At least I was reaching out and having that conversation.
Yeah.
It's when we shut it down, it's when we don't listen. That's when you feel most alone, like absolutely most alone. And so, you know, having moksha and feeling that freedom and trusting, all of it has to do with having faith and having faith in yourself. And when you have faith in yourself, you have faith in the divine,
Mhm.
because it's one and the same. You are one and the same. And I know there's people that will say you're crazy, that's not the truth. God is within. Like, you want to go to church, fine, meditate. You are the church, you are the temple. You don't have to go if it makes you feel better. Like, I love going to the Greek church on, for the Greek festivals and sitting there. We love that. We love sitting there and just looking around, and it's just such a peaceful place. But I don't have to go there to talk to the higher power. I
Mhm.
can do that anytime I want. Doing it now. um, so this is all about, the deeper part of this, and getting to this place is also having that self acceptance, right? Because to trust yourself, you have to know thyself.
Yep.
And to know thyself, that means you have to accept all of who you are.
Mhm.
And all of you has to feel safe to show its colors, its true colors. And sometimes it's not, you may say it's not the best of you, but all parts of you are parts of you, and they are the best of you. because that sounded like a word salad, and I
I was gonna
totally
say that sounded like a riddle, like you were a troll
I
under a
I'm
bridge.
not, I am totally not trying to do a word salad here, but when you can accept all of who you are, your good, bad, indifferences, whatever you feel that they are, when you can accept all of that, like this is me in all my glory, um, not as an excuse, but okay, I can work with this because now you've acknowledged those parts of yourself and now you can learn how to work with those parts of yourself.
Yeah,
And what do most people do?
ignore and avoid.
And push it away,
Yeah.
deny, deny it. That's that. No, I'm not like that. I was the last couple weeks. I was told you're being stubborn, and I'm like, what? I am not stubborn. I am not a stubborn person. I'm a stubborn person.
I was gonna say, where are you going with this? Because that's pretty dead on accurate.
Yeah, I can be pretty stubborn, and it's
You're an
about,
Aries. That's Aries
well,
trait.
someone asked me the other day, "How are you?" And I said, I'm tenacious."
I
And
thought you were gonna say I'm stubborn.
no, they said, "How's your day? How are you today?" And I was like, "I'm tenacious today." And they were like, "Oh my god, I love that." And it was just so funny because it was like it just kind of came out.
Hmm.
I don't know where it came from. Well,
What
I
a
do.
positive spin, because I'm assuming that day there was some stuff going on. So what a way to
Well,
what a way to spin it into a positive. Sorry, my brain malfunctioned
heck
for a
yeah,
second there.
that's what alchemy is, right? You take
Yeah.
it, you flip it on its head, you turn it around. And that goes back to that piece that you said in the very beginning, and I wanted to touch on this real quick. A really great way to test yourself and see which feels like, how should I make this decision, is exactly what you said. And it's like, when you flip the coin, like, okay, I'm just going to let the coin decide, and whatever the coin is to set, if it's head or tail, if it's heads, I'm going to do this, if it's tails, I'm going to do this, and you flip the coin and it's whichever one. If you feel like this, ugh, then guess what, do the other thing.
Hmm.
And so I love that you said that because it's such a great way to make decisions when you're kind of like, I'm not really as in touch with
Well,
myself and you're just starting out.
and it
Great
doesn't
way to
even have to be a
practice.
coin. It could be literally like talking to your friend, talking to your mom, your sister, whoever you
Hmm.
would talk to about whatever's going on. Have that conversation, ask them their opinion, and I guarantee you, you're going to get clarity on what you actually want to do just based on their response.
Yeah. And you can even like, not to have anxiety, but to go at that upper level and look at the situation and go, okay, tomorrow, after this situation is all said and done, how am I going to feel? Am I going to feel happy that I made the decision? Or is there a chance that I'm going to feel regret that I didn't take part in whatever it is? And if it's a little bit of regret, even a little bit, then you should probably rethink your decision and go do whatever it is, because you don't want to live with regret either.
Yes and no, because I feel like in some situations you could have regret either way, depending on how things work out.
Well, I mean, this is true
So
because you
apply with
can't,
a grain of
right.
salt.
Yeah, you can't control everything, but that's where you surrender the outcome and
Hmm.
you say, whatever happens is meant to happen.
You know, I'm a big fan. I always have been since I was a teenager. Of like, I get to a certain point where I can't make a decision that I just go, F it. And I just pick one and go, let's see what happens. Or like if I can't decide whether to do something or not, so maybe the option is to do nothing or to take action, I'll go, let's see what happens. Let's
So
stir the
that would
pot and
be
see what
so
happens.
that would be FIFO instead of fo wait, fuck around and find out. It would be,
You
oh,
just
sorry. Am I not allowed to say the F word?
generally not. People do. It's fine. Whatever.
F it and find out. F it and find out. FIFO.
Sure.
I'll just say FIFO. All right. So,
Sure.
how can we test ourselves and practice this? So, why don't we take a couple of deep breaths, and we're going to mix this with a little quick little exercise.
Okay.
So, um, Yeah, we're going to take our deep breaths and bring ourselves into the moment of presence and be here right now. And just bring up when you as you're breathing in, I want you to think of a time or maybe something you're kind of grappling with now. Take a big deep breath in and just bring up that situation that you're facing and just let the feelings come up. I promise you they'll go away once you feel them. And then exhale slowly. And that's a big myth, is that if you let the feelings come up, you're going to be like drowned in the feelings. It's actually, if you let the feelings come up, they dissipate. They just want to be acknowledged and heard. So think about the same thing again. Bring up that thought or situation. What would it feel like, look like, if everything worked out the way you want it to? Think about that feeling. Exhale slowly. And then take a deep breath in again. And this time, think about if you did it the opposite way and what what could possibly happen. Deep breath in and exhale out. Did you feel a difference internally? What
I
what were what were your feelings, if you want to share?
One option just felt lighter than the other.
Mm-hmm. And when you say lighter, for those that haven't started their journey yet, what
Sure.
do you mean lighter?
Well, I'm going to preface this with it's different for everybody. For me, one feels like I'm sitting in a vat of mud, and one feels like I'm just sitting here.
Hmm.
So there's like if you ever, not that I've sat in mud, but if you can envision what it feels like to be in mud, it's like thick and heavy and just kind of weighed down on
Mm-hmm.
you. So for me, that was the difference.
Yeah.
What
I
about you?
I was going to say, usually I feel like like a wet blanket is on top of me, like that
Same
heaviness.
similar concept, yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say a
Tethered.
weighted blanket, yeah.
Yeah, tethered, trapped. Sometimes I can feel like
What was
I
that
want
last one?
trapped. Like
Oh,
I
crap.
want to, it's a trap.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. Sorry guys, we digress into movies sometimes. And it, and then, and here's the key. What we want to get to is like true liberation would be that no matter which way you go, you're moving forward. And so it doesn't matter.
Mhm.
It just feels lighter that you're moving.
Mhm.
You don't worry about the outcome.
Yeah.
You let go of it and you don't hold on to, well, if I do it this way, this better be the outcome. If
Yeah.
you let go of that expectation, which is another way of judging something, and you just trust and have faith, then it's all going to work out.
Yeah.
But being able to notice that difference internally helps you get to that place. You've got to start small and build yourself up.
Yeah.
But there are times where I have two choices and I'm just like, I'm going to do this. I've never done it this way before. Let me do this. And if it's not right, okay, then I'll try it this way. And it works out.
Yeah.
Whether I learn a lesson or it goes smoothly, it all works out.
Whether you learn a lesson, it goes smoothly, or maybe you just need some additional information. Now you have a few more pieces of the puzzle that get plugged in.
The whole point of this is to break the doubt and the fear so that you can move forward and break the cycle that you're on, the cycle of indecision, the cycle of paralysis, analysis paralysis, the that shifting of being able to break free of that is how you start living in moksha with grace.
Yeah.
Not to plug Moksha Grace Coaching, but to plug Moksha
It's your
Grace
show.
Coaching.
Of course you should plug Moksha Grace Coaching.
I should.
Hey guys, go to mokshagrace.com and learn more about Michelle and her coaching. And if you want to book a call, you can do that from the website or mokshagrace.com/coaching.
Yeah,
And if you want
absolutely.
to join the email list, you can stay up to date with what the heck is going on. Go to mokshagrace.com/email, fill that out, and that's going to add you to the email list.
Yeah, absolutely. Because not everyone can do this on their own. And that's
Most
okay.
it takes longer, it's harder.
Right. It's harder. It takes longer. You miss some things. You don't dive deep enough. Then you have to keep doing it over and over and over again. Where when you just dive in the deep end in the beginning, you get over to the side where you can
It's like
stand
if
up
you
on your
try to
own.
create, it's like if you try to just on a whim decide you're going to make chocolate chip cookies with no recipe. That's going to take you a long ass time and a lot of trial and error to be able to do that.
That's a
Or
lot
you can say,
of.
"Hey, you cook a lot. Can I have your cookie recipe? Here you go. Fantastic. I'm going to make a couple of modifications because maybe I want some coconut or oats in my cookies, but this is a great starting place. Thank you."
Yeah, absolutely.
A great metaphor.
It really is. So if you want the secret recipe, I'm happy to share because that's the whole point of this. And so I want to challenge everybody, do one thing this week that
Mhm.
is a little, outside of your comfort zone, that takes a bit of courage, that got to bring up that bold muscle and use it, and listen from within. Ask the question, pause
Mhm.
and ask the question, like, why am I making this decision? Where is it coming from? And
Mhm.
feel what you feel and then move forward.
Yeah.
But just this week, just try it daily and hashtag trust. Put it in the comments, your experience. We would love to hear from you. Because we can all learn from each other. We're all going through this life on this spinning planet. We're all here together, so we might as well share and hang out and spend time with each other. So,
Yeah.
this has been great. Thank you. I love all of your insight always. And you get a little bit of both of us, the Aries and the Libra. Tonight is the new moon, by the way,
Mm.
and it is a great time. Great, great, great time to release limiting beliefs,
Yep.
release things that are holding you back, things that you feel attached to that might be bad for you.
Yep.
If you don't want to talk it out, write it out. You don't have to send it to a person. You can burn it and just in a safe way, and let it go, out into the universe. But it is the new moon, and this is a time for a refresh, a restart, setting intentions, and just being strong in who you are, because you have everything inside of you and you are connected. You may not know it, you may not understand it all right now. Maybe you're not meant to yet, but you got everything you need. So trust yourself, make good choices, and just believe in yourself, because we absolutely believe in you. So thank you all for being here. And Krista and I will be back next week,
And choose wisely.
and choose wisely. Good day, bad day. Your choice.